Hey, Todd Berry from toddberry.com. When you are building a team and you're working with people, you're doing life with them, right? That's really the way I look at it, and it's what I teach. Because I know some of you may be, well, you may not, because you wouldn't probably be attracted to my teaching. You might just be interested in fast money. But most people that are attracted to my teaching, they're in it for the long haul, right? They're trying to build something for life, and that means that they're going to be investing and growing and developing and serving people. And, life happens to people just like it happens to you. So I'm going to share a quick story with you to give you an illustration of how deeply I understand this. Many, many years ago, in the late 90s, my brother was very sick. And, I was blessed by my success in the business, and I could afford to. He lived in Phoenix, Arizona. I lived in Maryland, and I could afford to fly to Phoenix, multiple times to see him and spend time with him while he was going through treatment. And then, and I could pay his rent when he couldn't work, and I could help him in the ways that I could help him. And then I was out to see him in the fall, and things looked like they were improving. And then we were walking outside of his door one day, and he dropped like a rock. And had a grand mal seizure and basically died in the next week. And I was holding him in my arms while I took his last conscious breath. And so, needless to say, that was a really, really deeply impactful thing for me. And so I didn't really work in the business for the next 4 months. Certainly I took time away to tend to seeing him, but not as much. But then once that happened, I needed to deal with that, right? As a human being, I needed to deal with that. And I've had many of those. I've been in the industry for 28 years. So imagine, right? I have children who've grown up while I was in the industry. I have, a mom, and my father died when I was 18. But I've gone through all the things that you go through in life, which means there's been periods and times when I've had to really attend to things in my life. And that's going to happen to you and to your people. And so it's really an important thing to step back, because I see this treated wrongly, right? I see it treated wrongly many times. So think about it like this. There are 8, I call them 8 mega interrupters. They're interrupters in people's path. And I'm not talking about little struggles and bumps and getting rejections and going through learning curves and difficult times. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about major life happenings. So they are, marriage is one. If someone's getting married or their child is getting married, you can bet there's going to be a substantial period of time when they're going to be disengaged, right? They're having a baby, right? That is another one. A divorce is a huge one, a huge, huge interrupter, because the emotional toll of that, even leading up to it. So someone in that process is going to be disengaged for a while. Most people. There are some people that are able to work through this kind of stuff as if you don't notice, but I don't see that so much, because this industry, right, our work is so heart-based, right? And so all of us are involved, our whole being is involved. So I think it's very difficult for most people to separate that out. Buying a house is another, and moving. That is another big interrupter. A death, obviously. I don't mean the death of the person you're working with. That would be obvious. But I mean the death of someone they love, right? Like in my case, my brother. That's going to be a big interrupter. A major illness for either the person or someone really close to them, right? So someone suddenly going through cancer, for example. That's going to be a major interrupter. That is going to be very difficult for them. A loss of a job is another major interrupter, and a crisis with one of your children, right? Those 8 things are massive interrupters. And when people on your team are going through that, you've got to remember what that means for that person. You have to have empathy. You've got to serve them. You cannot pressure them. You've got to care for them as a human being. People are not volume. Just remember that. People are not volume, right? Yes, they're the ones that do volume, make volume, create volume, but they aren't volume. They're human beings, right? They have a heartbeat, right? They have emotions. They have all the stuff that you have, right? So you got to support them through it. And they will never, never forget it. Never. They'll stay with you forever, right? So they may be disengaged for a while. If they're ever going to re-engage, they're not going to do it somewhere else. They're going to do it with you. And trust me on this, because I've seen it over and over and over. You got to care for the person and treat the person. And that will serve you tremendously well. And even if they don't engage further, they will speak well of you and promote you like you can't believe it everywhere they go. Right? Anybody brings it up, they'll talk about you in a great light. And it'll serve you in so many ways, but most important, it'll serve them. So just remember that as you're moving forward. I hope that was helpful for you.